video games. I figured I'd lighten things up a bit. Yeah, I'm a gamer. I'm 37 years old, and I'm proud to admit that my generation, we were really, I don't know if you call it the golden age of video gamers, but I came up with, originally there was ColecoVision and then television, and that stuff was like whatever. But the Atari 2600, that was a big deal back then. And I was a young kid, but games like Pitfall and Combat, they were amazing to me. It was just my first real experience with games. And yeah, my father would now and then he'd take me to Nathan's because they had the arcade in the back, and it was the most amazing thing ever. But when we got the Atari 2600, it was a whole new thing. Now, if you play those games, beyond the nostalgia factor, it pretty much sucks. But after that, everybody got the original Nintendo Entertainment System, NES. And eventually I did too. But while everybody was playing Super Mario Brothers and Zelda, my sister and we actually had the Sega Master System first. And to this day, I swear by it. I thought that Sega blew away Nintendo. I thought the graphics were a little better. The games, to me, they had a little more substance to them. And when I beat a game on Sega Master System, it actually felt like an accomplishment. It really did to me. Not that Nintendo wasn't challenging. The games are very hard sometimes, but Sega had all the fighting games, you know? Like for me, games like Black Belt. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this. Maybe I'm getting older or just nobody played Sega, but Black Belt, Kung Fu Kid, My Hero, Transbot, Space Harrier. There was a racing game. My father loved the racing bikes. That's gonna kill me. Anyway, these games and there was even like a secret hidden game. If you'd put like a code on the console, you'd get this little maze type of game. Anyway, so I was huge into Sega. It was just amazing, and I swear by that to this day that it was better than Nintendo. And eventually we got Nintendo as well. And Nintendo had great games too. Everyone talks Super Mario Brothers. It was fine. Me, it was like Mike Tyson's Punch Out was awesome. You know, you're fighting guys like Soda Popinski and Bald Bull like twice. Once you get to Tyson, I remember I would like start biting the controller. I was so mad. I'd be like eating it and tearing it up because I couldn't beat the guy. And eventually I did it, but and there was like the code where you can kind of continue and start over at him, so that of course made things easier. But then something happened in 1989 for Christmas, which was I was in 6th grade, and that was easily one of the worst years of my life as growing up. 6th grade was my graduating class. We were the first kids that went to middle school in 6th grade. Usually it was 6th grade was still elementary school, then 7th and 8th was junior high, but my class had to be the first ones to go up to middle school, and we were terrified. It was a horrible year, but one of the few good memories I have of that was getting Sega Genesis on Christmas. And let me tell you something. You guys are listening, you know, when that came out, everything changed. The whole gaming world turned on its side. And the system came with Altered Beast, and to me, that was like being at the arcade. It was incredible. And of course, from there, Genesis had every freaking game, you know, and people still play the Sonic games. And of course, arcade games like Street Fighter was on both Super Nintendo and Genesis. But Nintendo, to me, was always kind of lame. Like, it was like pussy shit to me. Like in Street Fighter, I remember my friend was like, I'm surprised they don't wear pads when they fight, you know, like in sparring or something, because they just had no blood or guts, or like Mortal Kombat, like they, you know. But anyway, so Sega Genesis was freaking awesome. But of course, in old school gaming, it wasn't without its problems. For instance, there were no real save points. So if you're playing a game like Ghosts and Goblins, or Genesis's version, which was Ghouls and Ghosts, if you die, you have to start over pretty much way, way back to the beginning. And I remember that would drive us crazy because you're doing really good, and all of a sudden you get hit once and you're dead, and they start your way back. And there are certain games that still do that today, but it has obviously evolved a bit. So now, For my 37th birthday, my wife was nice enough to get me the PS4, and I love it. Of course, I love it. How can you not love having a PS4? Um, is it leaps and bounds from PS3? No, not in my opinion. When you jump from PS2 to PS3, that was another huge step in gaming evolution. It was just the online gaming, the interface, Netflix, YouTube options, everything. The graphics. When I first got PS3 and played Assassin's Creed for the first time, I almost shit myself. I wasn't used to that open world feeling, and the graphics were so amazing. Everything about it was just hyper realistic. Whereas before that, you had good stuff on PS2, like the Tomb Raider games, which I'm a huge Tomb Raider freak, Resident Evil stuff, the whatever. So PS4 is not a huge leap. It's obviously a bigger computer. It's like 500 gigs or something. So it is more powerful, which means it is more stable. It's a little more stable. It's a little faster, not leaps and bounds, in my opinion, but it's faster. The graphics, I guess they're a little better, but it's subtle. The interface is easier overall. Like the PS buttons makes more sense. You could just easily turn things on and off. There's no hoopla about doing whatever you want to do. The apps are right there for you. Overall, it's definitely a step up, but a subtle step up from PS3, in my opinion. But it's still pretty new. I'm kind of a nerd in that it's right now. It is March 24th, 2015, and in 2015, I have already beat 8 games, 4 on PS3, and then 4 on PS4. For you gamers out there, obviously, if you haven't played The Last of Us on either console, definitely check that out. That stood out. The characters, the acting, the writing, it's on a whole new level. They're really starting to catch up to Hollywood as far as the quality of acting. This is not Resident Evil 1 anymore. Definitely play that. I beat Dishonored, which was fun. It was cool. The story and the characters, like whatever, but it was actually kind of a fun, easy game to play. The Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishments was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. It was pretty easy, but a different type of game. What else? And I went back and played an arcade classic with my X-Arcade joystick. Final Fight, I beat in like a minute. That was a fun nostalgia type of thing. PS4, Wolfenstein was the first one I played and beat. It had a lot of good things, like the character was cool, the story, graphics were pretty good. It was really hard. I thought it was a very needlessly annoying, difficult game towards the end. But the big thing is that the game, I felt, went on way too long. Just so you know, if you buy it, it goes on forever. So that was whatever. But then I followed that up with The Wolf Among Us, the Telltale games, and I thought that was great. It was easy, but it was really enjoyable. I didn't want it to end. That was one of those. Then I did the Flower game that you can download. It's cute. I finished it in like an hour or two. That was all right. And what am I forgetting here? I'm leaving out something. Oh my God, I'm forgetting games that I just played. Injustice, Gods Among Us. Whoops. It's a fighting game with all the DC superheroes. It was pretty good. For fighting games, it was definitely like a Mortal Kombat meets Superman, basically. It was good. His story mode was okay. I thought the cinematics, there was a lot of them, and it was a little jumpy. For a PS4, again, I wasn't impressed with the graphics or the smoothness of how everything moved. I haven't really done much online yet. I'm a huge Minecraft fan. I do that on PS3. That's in the bedroom now, so I go in there and I built my underground Illuminati bunkers in my city around it. But if anybody has any good suggestions of games, I'm definitely an RPG guy. I like the shooters too. So definitely give me some recommendations and we'll talk again. Oh, by the way, as far as online gaming, everyone I know thinks I'm crazy because I'm not really caught up with that. But for me, video games, it's therapy. Like I'll just zone out late at night and I don't have to be social. I could be introverted and I could just clear my head and be a little misanthrope. So that's kind of what it is to me. I love the privacy of it, the intimacy of it. But yeah, I'll play online. Like I'll do it. Like I don't mind doing like a Call of Duty or like a Grand Theft Auto type of thing.